All right, we're live.
Vanguard rides again. In this corner, we have EJ
It's the
with
wrong
the
corner.
with the with the beautiful reflective sunglasses. I mean, maybe they'll generate enough of us like a shine so they can hide that hairline of his. And we got we got Raytron over here. Raytron, he's looking pretty good actually. He's looking pretty good today. He's
Today.
wearing the Ray Charles sunglasses. I'm surprised you can't see that terrible hairline he got on his head. But let's get into the topic. All right, my hairline looks splendid, but that's another for another day. Um, I was watching this video by Alan Preach, and they were reacting to
Oh, I actually saw that
H3H.
video. I did see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. They were reacting to H3H3. I don't know if you know who H3H3 is.
Not really.
You don't need to know. You don't need to know.
He seems like that kind of guy. Yeah,
Yeah, that kind of guy. Let's say that kind of guy. That's enough. That explains enough.
he's that kind of
So
guy.
basically, he was kind of giving them shit because they were talking about how Andrew Tate being deplatformed was dumb because it would just lead to even more Andrew Tate derivatives down the line who are going to be better at maneuvering through the system, and they're not going to get canceled, and they're going to go on to radicalize a bunch of youths because they're going to be better at it. And I can confirm this is true because I watch a lot of sociological content, and these guys they do use the coded language that everyone Preach was talking about. They definitely do. They do. I've even in the comment section. Heck, I have used this coded language when I wanted to say things in comment sections that I
We
knew
did
would
it
get
just
me in
now
trouble.
when we said he's that kind of guy.
Exactly,
He's that
exactly.
kind of guy.
Uh,
I'll tell you, he's that kind of guy.
so, anyways, the conversation got to how they were talking about how they hate this trend for white liberals to sort of talk down the black people and like when you have an opinion that they don't like, they act like you're too unintelligent to understand it. And just to make things clear, I don't think this is only racial because black liberals do this too.
Yeah,
They'll act
everyone
like
does
you're
this.
yeah, they act like you're really fucking stupid and start using racial terms against you. Like the things I've been called by black people are insane. No white person has ever called me. Like you get called a Sambo, a tap dancing coon, all sorts of crazy
Uncle
shit.
Tom.
Uncle
Bro,
Tom,
I
yeah,
was called Oreo all of high school for no
yeah, yeah,
reason, bro. Everyone in
yeah,
our school was black.
You
yeah,
even
Why
like
was I called an
Oreos? Like,
Oreo?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
for what
Niggas
reason?
darker, niggas darker than Raekwon were making fun of how dark he was. It's like I don't know what universe they were in, bro.
Nah,
Like,
that ass. That was wild. It was wild. But
but
no
yeah,
wait,
well,
cause that H3 thing was like one. He's commenting on Aberrant Preach, but he didn't even watch the video. So he didn't
no,
even watch the
no,
video, and then he has all this to say about them,
yes,
which further proves the point where he's like, he's an advocate for what? He's not an advocate for
yeah.
the
It's
people
like
he's trying to represent. Like he does not
he
care
didn't.
about their opinions. He doesn't care about
Nope,
their voices.
nope.
He doesn't want to hear
And
what they have to say. He
and
thinks like he has it all
remember,
figured out.
remember in our last video, who else did the same thing? Remember Hassan? Remember when the trans person disagreed
Bro,
with him? What did
they
he do?
literally clipped Hassan in that video where he's like, these kinds of people do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because
yep.
Hassan is also that kind of guy.
Started calling you are just a trans person. Remember that's what he said.
Yeah. It
Crazy,
was,
bro.
bro, like I was actually getting like heated watching the video. I guess we should link the video in the description. Like I was getting
Yeah.
heated watching the video because H3H was saying all this shit,
Uh-huh.
but didn't watch the video. He was saying,
Nope.
"Oh man, these guys are like they have this opinion, they have that opinion, they have this opinion." It's like you're not even talking about what they're talking about because you
No.
didn't watch the video.
You're literally reacting to an imagined version of them in your head.
Yeah, it was fucking gross.
But yeah, this really got me thinking about what Abba said about how the white liberals downplay, and he would much rather having old fashioned racism he can actually just call out again. Because I've been thinking about this shit for a long fucking time about how I
Same.
actually 100% prefer just normal. Because I'm the kind of guy who I've talked to a lot of weird people over the course of my life. And I have literally spoke to actual neo-Nazis on a regular basis. And these were niggas who would talk to me. And I have some out there opinions. So they and the best part about talking with neo-Nazis, right, is you can just agree that you hate each other and you should live apart. And it's I remember they were like, we want our own white ethno state. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. I was like, so you can live far the fuck away from me? I was like, yeah, yeah. Dude, you
Yeah,
should do that.
honestly, it's like you want to live with these people. They hate you.
Yeah,
They literally despise you. They're
yeah,
like,
it's
we
like
should live
God.
together. It's like, all right, like, look, man, I'm all for living like and like working things out, but when these people just hate you because you exist, there's no
Mhm.
working on that.
Yeah,
There's no
like I
working on
mean,
that.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you can, but it's
Look,
not as common as
if
you.
there's like the ignorance and like you can like educate them, but some people there's no helping them. You
Yeah,
know.
no, because the thing is, most people aren't even gonna do it in the way that it should be done. Like I remember there was that guy, that black pastor, who would convert Klans members, and the way he did it was through compassion, and that's how he would get them empathetic connection. And I did the same thing once, just once. I knew this guy. He was a neo-Nazi, and he for the longest time he would try and get me with racist things, but it wasn't working. So in time he grew to like respect me and would keep talking to me. And then over as time got like further, he started to realize that me and him actually agreed on a lot of things. And I was one of the smartest people he knew out of all these white people he knew. And then he started noticing that the black people he worked with at his job were much funnier and were actually smarter than his white friends too. And over time, he started to let go of many of those like backwards entrenched beliefs. And all that took, I didn't even have to preach to him. I never preached to him once. It was just by socializing with me over time that it works.
You
But most
remember?
people aren't going to do that. They're going to try and preach and convert them.
Well, yeah, like a lot of the people who have those kinds of ideas never never tried, never could talk to a people like the person that they hate. Like they, so like
Exactly.
usually a lot of the times it's like, oh, I chatted with the types of people I thought were like the devil. Turns out they're just regular people.
Yeah. What were you going to say, EJ?
I was gonna say, do you guys remember? I don't remember his name. I think it was like Daryl Davis. He was like a
Yeah,
black guy.
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Guy who was converting Klansmen.
yeah. I was gonna say when I saw the documentary a while back, with him in it, like it was that compassion you were talking about. But he was receiving criticism and flack for that because like from people that were black, other people that were black, and he was telling the people that like the other black people why he was doing it and he wanted to uh try to get them to let go of it and basically turn to the other side and not be racist anymore, and they were
Yep.
like it's kind of useless like for you to be doing that, like
Exactly.
they didn't see the purpose of it and they
Nope.
didn't think that he could get through. And he even showed them because when he had converted the Klans members uh, to believe in not being discriminatory and believing that all people should be equal, they would give him their uniform. They've given him their uniform, and he had like a whole collection of uniforms that he collected from past members. So it was working to an extent.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't convert everybody, and I don't know how like the number of people that he actually connected with and how many he tried to but failed. But
Yeah.
people weren't fucking with that. Like
All right.
Yeah.
other black people weren't fucking with that.
See, and that's the thing, right? It's like that just goes to show what we're talking about. That kind of old-fashioned normal racism, when the person explicitly states "I hate you," it shows that there's a problem, and the problem, and when a problem is present and you can actually see it, then it can be solved. But the difference with this more subversive racism is you don't know it's there, and instead you just have like it's like you don't know it's well, you do know it's there. Sometimes you can feel it, you can sense it, but you can't call it out, as Abba would say. Like I don't know if you guys remember that conversation I had with a certain individual we all know, and I started talking about like sort of like consolidating black power and like wealth, and it was like a very and then he started saying things that were very demeaning, and it pissed me off. And I remember thinking in my head, this guy is just
He's one of those
he's
people.
yes, he's one of those people, and it got me so angry, and that's why I remember I've never been so heated in my life. I remember my blood started boiling. I was like, this motherfucker.
So you're right. When like you're is if everyone's just like hiding, like you can't call anything out because you just be the boy who cried wolf. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like here they are, wolves in sheep's clothing, but you can't call them out because everyone just sees a sheep, and
Nope.
it's gross. It is gross because it's like, yo, bro, just say what you Just say it with your chest. Look me dead in my face and just say what you want to say, and we can call it a day.
Exactly. And the
We
worst
don't
part,
gotta sit here and pretend. Like,
and the worst part is like maybe they themselves don't even know. They look down at black people as these like cute little pets that they have to save and rescue, but they don't even know that shit's racist. They think they're heroes. They, they don't know that's a
that shit's
demeaning
gross.
viewpoint.
So you think it's easier for the racism to be out there, like for it to be blatant between
Yeah,
two
I
people
mean, there's a
than
level to
for
this. Like, I'm not
100%.
saying we should undo everything that's ever been done and go back to the days of lynching or nothing. But it is a lot easier to figure out what's wrong when you just walking down the street and this person's like, I really just don't like you because of the color of your skin. Like, it's just like, all right, we have a basis. I know where to start. We can have this conversation. But if people are just like, oh, it's not that it's not because they're black. It's because I just don't like their work ethic. The way they dress. It's
but
just
the thing about that is like that might work for some people, right? Like back to the Daryl Davis situation. Like people might be okay with that, right? Like you were saying, with it being just out there, so they already know what to expect, and they're not hit with any surprises. But the problem with that is like you'll have those people, like the black people he pissed off, that won't try to like break through to them. They think that whoever's racist in that situation, there's no saving them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
Uh,
mean, I'd be willing to agree with them. I think most of the time there's no saving someone who's racist. That's something they have to do on their own. Daryl Davis is a good example, but you got to remember Daryl Davis is one person, and
yeah,
if you take like a statistical like sample, if you can't replicate it, then you don't know if it's like a thing that can be done again. So like you don't know if it would work with you. You just know that Daryl Davis was able to do it. And it's like and like you said, we don't know how many people he did it with, how many times
yeah.
we don't have any available data. So I'm willing to suggest that most of the time it actually won't work. So
But that might just lead to further conflict. I mean, I guess society is based on lies, is built on lies. And people that you interact with every day, you don't really know how they truly think or how they truly feel about you or
yeah,
their political beliefs. So, we could really be together as a society, and the people that we associate with, we could have this mask or this facade of like, yeah, we're really friends, we're really together, but we don't really know how they think. So I guess for the benefit of society, that might, you know, be what works. But if we envision a world where, like what Ray was saying, where everybody's just out in the open, they putting it out there on the table, what kind of damage would that do? You know what I'm saying?
I actually think it'd be very cathartic. I think we'd actually work through a lot of our social issues if people would actually speak. Like people don't even talk about things anymore. They just keep using gotcha things and trying to trick each other. Like people don't talk
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. That's a lot of what
But
H3
but
is.
that's what I'm saying. Once
Imagine
you put
if
your beliefs
this
out there,
was KKK, or imagine if this was the
yeah,
Holocaust. And it's like, yo, and some people's like, oh, but you gotta take things to the logical extreme. It's like, no, you don't.
No.
yeah, but
Especially
that's
like,
my
because usually them taking things to the logical extreme, it's not even the right extreme. It's not in the
You
right direction
can't.
at all.
Oh
It's
my
just you
god!
just went to
You
an
hit the
extreme
nail
and
on
you
the
said this
head.
is the logical extreme. It's like no.
You
yeah.
hit
Like
the fucking nail on the head,
like
bro.
it's so crazy where they're like, oh man, if you I can't even think of anything right now.
No, I'll
But
give you a great
go
example.
ahead.
They'll say some shit like even I'm gonna argue against something. I'm gonna argue with something I usually agree with. Like there'll be some person who is like a pro-lifer, right? They'll be like, aborting your baby is the same as taking a kid out of a school and shooting him in the head. And you're just like, no, it's not. No, it's not at all.
It is not that indeed. It is not that indeed.
Those
But
things are not
that is
the
the
same.
logical extreme that they will come up with. It's like abortion equate is like it's like man, I might as well just go into the kindergarten and just be like, sorry, mommy can't afford you anymore. Smother your baby. It's like no, that is not the same
It's like,
at
no, it's
all.
not the same
Actually,
thing.
not even
It's like
close.
it's not the same thing. It's a little different.
it's
It's just a
a
little
it's
bit.
a lot of different, but that's like when people are trying to boil things down into the simplest extreme, the simplest thing, which
Hmm.
people suck at doing that. By the way, people suck at explaining things simply. Um, when they erroneously get to this very simple idea, they then try to like scale it back up into the complicated idea, and they skip a few steps along the way.
Skip a few steps.
And then that's how you end up in the completely wrong area. And you're just like, and then like, now we're not having the same conversation anymore. I'm talking about abortion, and you're talking about murdering kids in school buses, and I'm like, that's not what we're talking about here. It's like, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like
a lot of times we're not even having the same discussions. Like I've noticed that shit all the time. Like the same person that I got mad at. I remember when him and our other friend were arguing, and they weren't having the same conversation. I remember looking at that shit. I was like, they're arguing about two different things.
Bro, the amount of times I've witnessed that, and I literally like, I literally have to step in and it's like, hey, you guys aren't talking about the same thing, like at all. They're like, what? And I was like, yeah, this person's saying this, and you're saying that, like, kind of tangentially related, but y'all are on two different paths.
Yeah, you haven't established common ground, and that's why making racism obvious would be great. You got that common ground right there. The Overton window. It's like when you have that line in the sand, you know, it's like this is racist, this is not. But right now we're in this weird blurred situation where it's like you never know, man. Like you remember that thing that happened with the fucking H&M with the kid with the monkey on the shirt,
coolest monkey in the jungle or something.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't think that shit was racist. Yeah, I was like, oh,
100%. My mom today would buy me that shirt. She would buy that shirt for my brothers. She would buy that shit so quick.
Yep. But it's like things, yeah.
Because I remember when that thing was going around, I was like, I think it's more racist that all of you saw a black kid wearing this shirt and instantly thought he was looked like a monkey.
Yeah.
And I made that connection. So it was like, if he was a little white boy, he wouldn't be a monkey. Like come on.
That reminds me. And then I remember I told you about this, Ray. The funniest shit in the world. Back when the Planet of the Apes movies, when they're making those reboots, there was, I think it was either Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or War of the Planet of the Apes, right? And this motherfucker. All right.
I don't even know what you're laughing at.
All right. Whew. I gotta, because I'm remembering it now. I'm remembering how funny I felt it in the moment. So there was a monkey like on one of the horses, and it had like a blue vest, right? This motherfucker is like BLM guy who he looks at that and he's like, he makes this long, lengthy Twitter post about how he's very well known for wearing a blue vest, and Fox Studios put the blue vest on the monkey as a reference to him, and they were doing that to be racist and compare him to monkeys. And oh my!
So my man saw a monkey wearing a blue vest and was like, "That's me."
and then it gets worse. Whoopi Goldberg caught on, and she's like, she pretty much goes on her own rant, informing him that he's a fucking idiot, and the reason the monkey was wearing a vest is because it's an Easter egg for the vest that they wore in the other film, in the original film, and it had nothing to do with his stupid ass. And imagine. You gotta hate yourself. You gotta really hate yourself to look at a movie with a monkey and think that this monkey is me.
yo, imagine my man sitting in the theater enjoying the flick, eating his popcorn. Then he sees a monkey, goes, "That's me."
Just like me. So like,
yo, you have to be crazy.
That's why we need to have these clear, defined versions, like what is obviously racism and what isn't. So we can stop living in this weird exposed nerve reality where everything's racist.
I'm still thinking that shit's crazy.
I don't think even the people that have their own definitions really have a clear understanding that what it is.
No.
Bro, no one knows what's racist anymore.
Yeah.
They used to know explicitly what the fuck racist was. Because I mean, even if you look back at the olden days, like when racism was very overt, black people had no choice but to outperform all their white counterparts. Because it's like, these people fucking hate us. Like, we gotta get them out of here.
And then it's like some of the common stereotypes that's associated with a particular ethnicity, they get blown out of whack because it's like, those stereotypes are in place for a reason because certain cultures identify with that stereotype. Not all represented.
Guys, yeah. Go ahead.
No, but not in a way. I mean, identifies like, like they it's a part of their culture. Or they might not embrace it, but it's there, it's present, and to ignore it or to disregard it would be, a lie almost, in a sense.
Yeah, Yeah.
But that doesn't mean obviously that everybody, or it's in totality that everybody of that race or ethnicity is the representation of that. It's
I
just
like
something that's common
True.
within it.
that was
Speaking
good.
of
It's
this,
like
speaking of this very specifically, I got a new coworker. He was telling me he's an Asian man. He was telling me how his family used to run a nail salon, and I looked at him without a second thought. I was like, "Oh, so you're Vietnamese, right?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Yes." And like I knew in his mind, he was like, "This racist motherfucker." But then I was like,
yeah,
"No, no, no, wait. I just know because I remember getting taught this that like this person, like a lot of the Vietnamese immigrants when they first came over this country, this one lady just like taught them how to do nails, and like over time, a lot of them just was like they just had nail salons. So like knowing that information, I was like, he he's he he's an Asian man who runs a fucking nail salon. I was like, oh, so your family's Vietnamese? He was like, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because bro,
and it's not like
every other
that's a
Vietnamese
negative
person.
thing.
See, stereotypes don't need to be negative, but there's like
But that's what I'm saying. What's
thinking
bad about
thinking about them
having a
at
nail
all is just
shop?
automatically like, damn, that person's
The
racist.
assumption is that they're always negative, like because like even when you look at like these Asian stereotypes that I see a lot of people complaining about, they're like Asians are always portrayed in movies as being intelligent, silent, and very powerful and, and smart.
It's bad to be intelligent. It's bad to be
No,
powerful.
they just don't want to be stereotyped at all. Like they'd rather just be able to like be
But
regular
how do
people.
you
You
how do
know,
you identify a
no,
culture?
identify a culture.
to
Well, there's other
you know
things you can do to identify the culture because they aren't just those stereotypes. But
Wait, so they
I
don't want karate?
all right.
I thought they would do
Goodbye.
Quran.
See you later, YouTube.
like
Bro, this is like there's other
I'll
things
be
like
off the wall for thinking that if I said um Japanese people like anime, like I would be off the wall for saying
you
that.
would be because they hate anime. Actually, they despise it.
Wait, no,
Ever since Americans liked it, they were just like, "Damn, we can't like it no more." Americans,
But
like
you
it.
telling me if I go to
Nah,
Japan, I'm
I'm
not
just-
gonna find one person
Nah,
there?
I think-
Nah,
I think you would.
everyone still likes anime.
I
It's
think
not
you
as
would.
big as people like. Some Americans
Yeah,
really think
yeah.
that they like
Well,
love
to
that shit
them,
over there. It's just
to them, it's just
cartoons, bro.
cartoon.
It's
Yeah,
regular
yeah.
shit. There are some people who are
Yeah.
still into it, and most people are like, "Yeah,
They
I
don't
watched it in
understand the
middle school."
art.
You
They,
know?
they don't
Same
understand the art
Japanese,
beyond it.
saying Japanese like anime would be like saying Americans like cartoons.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
like there was
Or
oh yeah, I
American, or
remember watching
Americans.
that in middle
Yeah.
school. Like everyone watched cartoons in middle school, right? And then you grow up and you stop.
Yeah.
So that's what it's like. You go over there and they're like, "Yeah, I don't watch that shit no more."
No. For them, it's a little culturally different because their anime kind of will grow with them. Like they have adult cartoons
Oh
and
no,
adult.
but still, a lot
Or
more
there's
people just
sections,
don't
or not sections. Yeah.
just don't watch it anymore. They're like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
stop
yeah, yeah,
watching
yeah.
it," because
But I'm saying that the only reason why you probably find more who watch them over there is because their cartoons are literally designed with adults in mind more often than here in
and
America.
some of them are just really long standing. Like they might not watch anime anymore, but they might watch One Piece. It's like, yeah, I've been reading this shit for 20 years,
Or-
bro. I'm going
like,
hard. I'm figuring
Or
out
like
what
Dragon
the
Ball, or like
Dragon Ball, yeah.
Z.
Dragon Ball is
Yeah.
like Dragon Ball's just popular. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't even need
It's
to keep
genre.
up with it. You're just like, oh, I saw the latest episode. I understand what's going on. Like, you don't need to watch Dragon Ball to know Dragon Ball.
No.
But that's not the point. So if you wanted to like represent a culture without like relying heavily on stereotypes, you could
It's
just
possible.
have
Get
a
to know
fucking
them.
Asian person in your fucking thing. It's like
Yeah,
you don't
have a
I don't gotta
conversation.
tell you that this person is Asian. You can just fucking see it, right? And then
You can-
there's
you can
other
have-
things.
Have a few conversations with some people from other cultures.
Yeah, like-
It's not. I'm not saying you think of that one individual person that you had an interaction with. Oh, he looks of a certain ethnicity and race, so you assume he likes all these things. You know, I'm not saying do that.
Yeah, but
I'm saying,
just saying like in media, that happen
Yeah.
a lot where it's like to show you that this person is Asian. Whenever
Yeah.
you go to the house, they will have like very, very, very
Oh,
specific
yeah.
ornate. It's like, yeah, I have to have this long ass tapestry of random Asian characters that may or may
That
not mean
liberal racism.
something.
Yeah, that's that liberal
I
racism,
gotta,
bro.
I gotta have the lucky cat just ready, just regardless of what kind of Asian I am. I have a lucky
Yeah.
cat.
Or look at that fucking America Chavez in that movie, her fucking finishing her sentences with Spanish. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Oh yeah, shit like that.
It's funny because I was talking to a Spanish girl about that at my job, my old job, and she was talking about how that shit was so dumb, and she was like, "That shit was so stupid," and I was just dying. I
Yeah,
didn't even have to
because
say it. I was thinking
it's
in my head.
stupid. It's like like, bro, if you know someone who speaks Spanish and you don't speak Spanish, they're not just gonna start talking to you in Spanish, bro. They're not gonna do
No,
that to you. They would just
no,
speak in English. And even if they
yeah,
forgot a word, they're not gonna just be like, "Let me say this word out and loud in Spanish several times, so you recognize that I do know Spanish." They're just gonna be
yeah.
like,
The
"I
most you
don't
might
know."
have, most a Dominican might say DK, something
Yeah,
like
like there's
that.
like some phrases, but those
Hey,
are like,
I don't get offended. You know, you guys
it's
all
not
know
that
I'm
I'm
Spanish.
offended. It's just like, bro.
Wait, you're Spanish? I'm gonna believe. Yeah.
No, it's just weird because like
Hispanic.
they will do that shit for black people too. Whenever they have them speaking Ebonics, they really go
Oh my
far.
god.
It's just like, what the fuck did that
Oh
person
yeah.
even just say,
Ma-
bro?
Remember Miles Morales? Asgard is my
Astor,
hood.
Asgore's my hood. Oh my god. Yo, we're not even talking
Asgore.
about the same shit no more. But it
It
honestly,
relates. It relates.
it just shows you that like no one knows what the fuck's going on. Cause that Miles Morales comic that shit was racism. That shit was racism. That nigga, whoever wrote that, basically looked me in the face and was like,
Yo,
"You are a nigger." Like hard R and everything, bro. Like I was offended when I read that shit, bro. Cause
me too.
I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is good?" He had him
Yo,
rhyming. He had him
yeah, right.
spitting bars, bro. For
Yo, you know the
what?
last time? You know the last time they had a black character speaking in rhyme? That was in like the 19 fucking 70s. And it was like Luke Cage. He would say shit like "Sweet Christmas." Like
Bro.
he was saying
And then my
stupid goofy
man's had
shit
the
like that.
audacity to be like, "By Odin's fade." What the fuck is that shit, bro? By
Oh my
Odin's
god.
fade?
And they had yeah, Odin's Fade, graffiti. They had
Yeah, yeah. The
graffiti all
Mjolnir was
over
just covered in graffiti because
because he's
there's
black.
there's
I guess
no
that's
my
black
man's
people's
he
contribution to
see
society.
and like I was okay with his fit because like he still had the sneakers on, but I was okay with that because Miles Morales, even in his Spider-Man suit, wears those sneakers.
No,
So
no, he only did that because of the movie. He didn't do that before.
he had them in the comic, not the first one.
Yeah. But I'm saying the movies will
The
popularize that
movie
thing.
did popularize it, but he definitely did it, and he had them in one of the comics before the movie.
I didn't really read that
Uh,
comic.
I
I,
I
I,
was
was,
look,
I hate Miles
Vanilla
Morales.
Miles when he first showed up, I was like, this is just Peter Parker again. But then they gave him a little more personality. Then the movie dropped and he got a lot more personality. Now he's just Miss Marvel's sidekick, and that's really
Yeah, and
disrespectful.
black and they did that whole thing where he was black versions of everybody else.
That was fucking weird.
That
Um,
reminded me of the RDC shit, the video with where he was like when black people try to pitch a show or something like that, and then the guy was looking at the script and he was like but like are you, I forgot what he said. He was like, "You
We're
guys
something
rapping?"
very
He was like, "But you guys got bars or something?" He's like, "None of us is rappers in this, bro. Like none of us is rapping." He was like, "What team are y'all on? Like we're not playing basketball."
Oh, he said something about but your
Yeah,
struggle, some shit like
you
that.
struggle. Yeah.
And did you see there was another really good one about the designing when the limited options you have as a
oh yeah,
black
yeah,
character
yeah,
in video
yeah,
game?
yeah. The black people hair, bro. I remember for a fact, bro. It's so memed on, like, cause like it's such a joke that like blah, black customization options don't really exist. That when Pokemon let you be a tan character, everyone lost their shit, bro. They're like, "Oh my god, we made it!" And it's like, and bro, I'm telling you, the darkest character in the fucking game was as dark as EJ is now.
Yeah.
But people was like, "It's okay. This is a step forward. Step forward."
Progress.
I think right now you can get braids in fucking Pokemon. I think right now you can get a
Oh,
braids.
why people acting like
Can't get
braids?
dreads though.
People
It's
do
not
this
even like
braid.
some whack ass braid. It's like some nice looking hair for your
First of
character.
all, black people just now started finally wearing their hair again.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. But I'm
Oh,
taking this W, bro, because I can rock my fucking fro in my fucking games, bro.
no,
Yo,
remember
look,
what that guy
do you
said?
not see? Do you not
Remember what
see
that
my
guy
stream
said?
pic, bro? That was as black as I could be in that fucking
Now,
game.
EJ,
I was
remember
a
what that
license. I looked
guy said?
like EJ.
No, EJ, remember what that guy said? Remember what the guy
That
said?
fast.
What
Oh
did that guy
man.
say again, EJ? What did he say? He was like, what did he
He
say?
was like,
Fuck.
he came up to us while we was doing the interviews outside. And he was like, "Yo, I know that guy, the guy with the half-ass fro."
He's like, whatever that
It's
is.
about right.
Bro, there's always colored people making fun of other colored people too.
He
'Cause-
was black.
Your dad would say,
Oh,
what's
he was
up,
like, "Oh,
Wolverine?
when you gonna shave Wolverine?" I was just like,
Wolverine?" Oh yeah,
"Bro, my hair
mom
will be like half a centimeter." He's like, "Damn, you're getting kind of hairy there." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yep. But yeah, man, it's like I said, I would prefer racism to be a blatant thing again that I can look at, call out. I'm tired of all this
I'm tired of
this
the games.
versus bullshit. Yeah, all these games. I'm tired of people not actually having conversations and trying to outsmart each other. And it's like they're trying to play chess, but they're using checkers. And they
Bro,
just
it's the
saying
same
goofy
board.
shit.
It's the same board.
Yeah. They saying goofy shit that they think is gonna catch you, like the KKK thing, man. Before Ethan even said it, I knew he was gonna say it. I
Bro,
knew.
literally, if you watch the Iron Priest videos, like they're always linking shit to the KKK. Then they press play, and he's like the KKK, and they were like, "See, he's just that kind of
Yeah.
guy."
Actually, it's funny just to show you this actually literally happened to us. Like I remember I got into an argument with that guy Gio, and he said, what did he say? He was like, "Oh, if there was a group that wanted to celebrate white culture in the school, would you have a problem with that?" And I was like, "No, I wouldn't give a fuck." I was like, "They can do whatever they want." I was like, "I don't care. If they want to celebrate their culture, they celebrate their culture." He was like, "Really? When they could have links to like the KKK?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, you didn't say nothing about no KKK. You just said white people wanted to celebrate their culture." He's like, "You didn't say shit about no KKK."
You didn't say their culture had to be about that. Had to be about at the misfortune of my race.
Because look, man, and that's such a disingenuous thing to act like all white people culture is just the KKK. Because it's like if we really wanted to do it, everyone's culture is linked to some sort of mass
Some
genocide,
terrible thing.
some
Yeah.
horrible
But even
thing, bro.
even white people within they it's like to think of it as just white people is goofy and stupid as fuck because you got Russians, you got Irish people, you got Scottish people. Like white people don't think of themselves as I'm white like American people do.
Yeah.
But remember Mr. Clemens, he was Polish and he fucking repped that culture hardcore.
Who the fuck
And
is
that's
Polish?
And that's the thing, right? Who gets to be the spokesman or the spokesperson for a culture, right?
No
Who
one gets to
can
do that
dictate
shit. But people love to pretend to do that shit.
How can you define what is black culture? How can you define, even if you are a black man, how
like,
can you speak for
the
the
same
rest of
thing?
black people?
The same thing you just said about white people. I'll tell like I was like, yo, bro, like people are only calling themselves black in America because they have no idea where they came from.
Exactly.
We just don't know where it came from. So that's why, like, we have to get stuck with that label. It's like I'm black. Why? Because I don't know where the fuck I came from. Okay, you're white, and people's like, oh, actually, I'm from Ireland. Good. I'm glad you get to know that. Because I don't know.
I remember there's a guy I watch on YouTube who's always talking about. He's like, "I'm not black." He's like, "I'm not black." He's like, "My shirt is black." He's like, "This thing's black." He's like, "But me, I'm brown." He's like, I'm a brown man. I'm not black at all."
That's
And I remember
that's a little
funny.
foolish. That's a little goofy.
Yeah, a funny discussion I always get in with different people who are, because like my lineage is my mom is an immigrant, as is my dad, and whenever they're talking about, whenever we get to discussions about race, and they'll start talking about slavery and shit, I'm always just like, I'm like, look, we don't have the same ancestry. Things happen a little different where I came from. I'm like, we don't have the same story. I'm sorry. So I was like, you're not going to be able to guilt me into agreeing with you by using past traumas because technically,
like I was found over here on this side.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we have our own traumas in Jamaica, but we also have our fucking victories as well of driving.
And it's like you have a different relationship, like you said, the time period, also depending on the origin, in terms of like the country you're from, and if you're an immigrant, you might have a different idea of what that
but
culture
black people
is.
don't think about, black people don't ever think to themselves. They don't think past the racism part. I mean, not past the colonialism part. Their lineage in their mind stops there. They're like, we grew up out of the cotton fields, out of the ground. That's how we came to be.
Indeed.
It's like we were bred.
But like I
and
said,
born
a lot of people can't go further than that anyway.
Yeah, it's like if you did a little bit of research, maybe you could find out where your grandmother was from and see that she was from Africa.
And it's like, all right, sure, like where? And I don't fucking know. They pick
Yeah, a
them
lot
up
of
and
that
put them
bullshit.
in the
A
tin.
lot
They
of
put
stuff,
them
a lot of stuff lies to
sardines.
you.
It's like, yo, so it's like, that's why I'm just looking forward, bro. I know where I am, and that's all I can do, and that's what I'm calling it. I'll catch you guys later.
Vanguard out.